This is the biggest pack of gray sharks on Earth. 700 of them. These awesome predators gather under the full moon for a single purpose: to feed. Now, a team of scientists is diving in, using state-of-the-art tech to capture the epic hunt like never before, and find out what really goes on inside this massive shark swarm. "700 gray sharks live in the middle of the vast Pacific Ocean, around an island invisible from space. About 250 miles from the island of Tahiti, the atoll of Fakarava. The atoll is a ring of coral pierced by breaches that link the lagoon to the ocean. The deepest of these are called channels. Hidden away in Fakarava's southernmost channel is the world's densest population of gray reef sharks. 700 of them live right here in this valley of coral, classified as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Much of their behavior is a mystery. What attracts them here in such huge numbers? Are there leaders whom the rest follow? A team of more than 20 divers and scientists are here to find out. Leading the team is biologist and photographer Laurent Molesta. Laurent and his team have been here before, 4 years ago, to check out rumors of vast schools of thousands of groupers coming here to reproduce during the June full moon, which acts as a signal to them to start laying their eggs. The rumor was true. The Fakarava Channel is the site of one of the largest aggregations in the world, 17,000 groupers. Inevitably, they drew the sharks. There were so many of the predators that the team kept counting and recounting them. One camera traveled the whole length of the southern channel, about half a mile. The footage revealed an astonishing count of 700, 705 to be precise. That's the highest density anyone's ever seen. Laurent and his team's curiosity is stronger than their fear. They decided to scout the location at night, amidst hundreds of sharks.
Ce qu'on s'est aperçu quand on a découvert les lieux, c'est que les requins qui étaient rassemblés en pleine eau la journée, tout à coup ils descendaient sur le fond, commençaient à marauder dans tous les sens sur le fond de la passe. On n'osait pas s'approcher de cette meute. On restait au-dessus, 10 mètres au-dessus. On l'a filmé de loin. On était là, les genoux sous les épaules, tellement on craignait tout ce qui pouvait dépasser de mâchoire de cette meute rassemblée comme une boule de requin impénétrable. On a commencé à oser descendre un peu sur les bords. On gardait toujours nos distances, mais on se rapprochait un peu du fond. Mais ça reste impénétrable. Qu'est-ce qui se passe ici, là, au plein milieu de la meute, quand on est autour? En étant à ce niveau-là, c'est arrivé quelquefois qu'on commence à se faire bousculer par les requins. Et on s'est aperçu que nous n'étions pas des cibles, nous étions juste des obstacles. C'est là qu'on s'est dit qu'il y avait un semblant d'organisation sociale. C'est là qu'on s'est dit qu'on avait l'impression de voir des stratégies chez les proies très différentes. Ça nous a fait naître plein d'intuitions. Moi, ce que je veux maintenant, c'est que ces intuitions se transforment en convictions, peut-être même en réalité scientifique.
Laurent hopes to prove that the sharks are much smarter than we think. The next few days are critical. The June full moon will trigger the grouper gathering. That's when the sharks will go on the rampage. The moon is a ticking clock for both the scientists and the fish. A countdown to a massacre. 700 sharks aren't gathering at Fakarava by chance. They're here because of the history of this island. Knowing the geological past reveals the biological present. Fakarava was born around 70 million years ago. No sooner had the volcano surged up from the depths of the Pacific Ocean than the reef started colonizing its shoreline. Soon, the island was surrounded by a ring of coral. In the north, the fresh water from the rivers stopped the coral from growing there, which left a gap in the reef almost 2 miles wide. Its fires extinct. Over the next 2 million years, the volcano disappeared, while the reef kept on growing. But it still bears the imprint of the ancient rivers, the channels. The pass in the north takes the brunt of the tides, so the residual current that reaches the south channel here is gentle. This easy current is a real boon. It's weak enough for the coral to develop and provide shelter for fish, yet it's strong enough to allow a constant flow of food for everyone. Sharks thrive in this current too. By day, they use it to rest. By night, they use it to hunt. This perfectly adapted current is the first clue to understanding why sharks gather here. But to see the whole picture, Laurent needs to dissect the predator's movements. He's tasked 3 scientists to create a 3D model to help him do just that. They'll begin by placing antennas down at the bottom of the pass.
The strength of the current isn't equal. If we know approximately where they are in the channel and how active they are, and we have some understanding of current strength, then we can really see how their behavior varies.
Based on the range testing we did, we probably need to space the receivers about 100 meters apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now we're trying to find the best position for this acoustic receiver to make sure that we're going to get the tag sharks where the sharks are spending most of their time, so on the hot spots around the walls, but also where they're going to be hunting at night, so we can compare the activity during the day and the night. We have a big school of sharks usually staying here, all along this place, so all these receiver can get the detection. Cool. We just have to deploy them now.
They have to get government permission to install 25 antennas, since the sharks here are protected by law.
22 is 101799. 113122.
But installing 25 antennas is the easy part.
115334.
The next step is to equip 40 sharks with electronic chips so they can track their every move. The gray sharks are keeping their distance. Like the divers, they're cautious. These predators are also prey to 13-foot-long hammerheads.
Good with that. So we have the VHF works just fine.
With the antennas installed, it's time to figure out how to plant the chips in the shark's abdomens. The chips will let the scientists know exactly when the predators go into action, whether they sometimes leave the channel, and if all 700 act as one or independently.
It's pretty handy to have a shark right here.
Yeah, okay, this all.
If everything goes as planned, they'll be able to track the movements of each shark. And the team has another tool at its disposal, a spy camera covered in sensors, ready to be attached to a shark.
Well, let's try it and see.
This is Yanis's first dive. At night, into the middle of the pack. He and Laurent are going to test placing the spy camera on a shark using a surprising technique. But the sharks may not cooperate. Scientists in the Pacific atoll of Fakarava have to work in the dark because the sharks are too cautious during the day and unapproachable. At night, they're emboldened by the hunt. Research has shown that turning a shark over on its back puts it into a hypnotized cataleptic state. But that was done with sharks familiar with divers and fed by them. Now Laurent and his team are testing it here, amid a feeding frenzy. Amazingly, the immobilization technique works. This is one circus move that could end up scientific protocol. They need a big shark to carry the camera. Coordination between the two scientists is crucial. Each shark reacts differently. Some won't be hypnotized, and that's when they might bite. Yanis thinks this one's too small. Laurent lets it go. While they're searching for a larger shark, a never-before-documented hunt is going on. It's a moray eel. A lone gray shark will never attack a moray eel this big. But together, this pack doesn't hesitate. After 2 hours, Yanis and Laurent give up. It's too difficult to attach the camera. They need to find another way, and soon. Back at HQ, Yanis screens the first images. Something strikes him. It looks like the sharks might form partnerships to hunt in pairs.
One of the most fascinating things about the sharks in Fakarava Channel is the social systems of the sharks themselves. The question is, why do they form these social associations? By remaining close to each other, one shark could see another shark taking some prey and benefit from that. So if you imagine there's a reef fish here, one shark sees it, charges, goes after the reef fish, it escapes, another shark sees that shark chasing the reef fish, then it sees the reef fish and it actually successfully gets it. By hanging out close to each other, I can see if you get some food or chase some prey, and that can benefit me. Very simple, but that could still drive us forming social associations.
There might be something to this partnership theory, but it uncovers more mysteries to solve. Are the pairs partners or rivals? Does a pair always hunt together? Do they hunt every night? A shark only needs from 7 to 9 pounds of fish a week, so theoretically, it doesn't need to go hunting every 24 hours. The electronic chips may help the team find answers, but only if they can find a way to attach them to these deadly predators. Everywhere else in the world, scientists fish for sharks with hook and line in order to mark them. But here in Fakarava Atoll, the scientists have decided to immobilize them by hand and then lasso them to get them up next to the boat. Nobody's ever tried this old cowboy technique on a gray reef shark before, only on white-tip reef sharks. It's much less invasive for the shark, but there's a high risk of someone getting bitten. One problem with hypnosis is the creature's weight. If a shark's not swimming, it sinks. So if you immobilize one, it tends to drop down, bringing its jaws right up against your legs. Laurent's taken it on as a challenge. He's determined to get it done.
Okay, Yanni to do the slack. You can do the slack.
Yeah.
Johan, watch out, Yanni. I'm going to put it on the other side. Watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, here.
Good, good. Back at the mood. Got one, guys. We on. A bit more indeed. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Wait. Oh, there goes the.
Good boy. Gonna touch again. There you go.
There we go.
Close.
Lorsqu'on retourne le requin, en fait, ça le calme et ça nous permet de travailler beaucoup plus sereinement. Aussi pour le requin, il est beaucoup moins stressé en fait lorsqu'il est à l'envers.
Yannis tries to implant the first electronic chip.
The surface of the skin is very hard.
There's a lot of really thick muscle layer until you get into the body cavity. So, although these incisions look quite dramatic, there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all is that sharks naturally have pretty violent lives, especially when they mate. So the male will bite the female, and the females in particular can get pretty torn up. So we get females with huge scars, much larger than anything we're inflicting with this blade. So they're naturally adapted to having a lot of damage. And because of that, they have very impressive immune systems and